Welcome to the Stupa report, February 2022. We want to test a new format. We try to keep it between 5 and 7 minutes to update you on everything what happened in the last month on the Stupa project. So that's what we are talking about, is the project and the donation status, what activities have we done in the last month, and what are we planning to do.
Absolutely.
Up to you, Hanli. You are going on with the next one, if I can skip to the next slide. Oh, no, that's me. So the actual status report, March 22nd, Taiwan is leading with nearly 1.5 million. So I think we can say they have reached their first goal, funding the first stupa. Dr. Blue is nearly there, 100,000 are missing. And then Malaysia took over Singapore with about 100,000. And also the SAMDE or the rest of the world is really doing very well, mainly due to Vietnam. Thank you so much. But now, Hanli, what have we accomplished in the last month?
Thank you, Sunam. Yes, it's been a very busy month or two. The very big thing that I want to share is that we attended a hearing in which we got conditional approval of what they call a special use application. That is something that we need to be able to go forward with the Stupa project, specifically the piece that is about people coming to visit the stupas. The conditions that came out of that was that we still need to get a traffic statement, which shouldn't be too complicated. We have to always be sure that Fort Bowie, who's our neighbor, has a right of way. So we have to write something about that. There are some outdoor light compliances that we have to adhere to as well. Then the big things before we start building is we have to have a stormwater pollution prevention plan.
That sounds complicated, wasn't that?
It sounds very complicated, but because we have so many washers coming through the areas that we're going to be building or near to the areas we're going to be building, we really have to make sure that everything is safe from water if we have our very big storms here in Arizona, because we have monsoons in which we have very large amounts of water rushing down a lot of the dry riverbeds, which they call a wash. The other is to make sure that if we're going to be clearing any native plants, we have to post a notice about that. You will know if you've been following that we are going to have a very big component of the project where we're going to reforest or regenerate a lot of the plants that we might have to take out as we build. But this is a special requirement that is made by the county as well, so that we warn them in advance if we're going to be taking out any of the indigenous or native plants. Then we have to do a drainage analysis. We spoke about those stormwaters. We have to also understand where the water goes so that it doesn't affect any of the buildings or any of the paths that we're going to be building or any of the steps. And then the last one is a floodplain use permit, also attached to water, making sure that we understand how high the water goes when there are floods, even though it doesn't happen very often. They want us to be sure that we are safe and that we keep everyone else safe. So those are the conditions that have come up from that meeting.
I would like to say a special thank you here to Bob from Line and Space. It's a pleasure to work with him. He has prepared the presentation of the hearing. I will also attach this PowerPoint to this email. Look at it. It's very detailed and beautiful.
Yes. An excellent piece of work, and he absolutely blew the committee out of the water. They were very impressed, and we're very lucky to be working with them. I agree. Now, what is also happening is that we have to have a building or construction permit for the stupa itself, as well as the meditation pavilion. So that has to be submitted and will be done in the next couple of weeks. That permit is very quick. The special use application took a long time, but the building permit itself is very fast. Then we have to put the final touches on the stupa design. There's still very small little adjustments that we're making. And we've also started designing the meditation chamber or pavilion that's going to be behind the stupa. That's well underway, and we will keep working on that. During this time, the actual county, Cochise County, came out to look at the site and to visit, and made a very big effort to learn more about what we're doing and why we're doing it. So we're very grateful that they showed that level of interest to actually take the time to come and visit and connect with us. And then there's a very exciting piece that's happening, which is the new donor wall. And I'll let Sunam explain more about that.
So we are creating every month a donor wall, which you see here. It's nice bubbles hopping up and down in front of the medicine Buddha, and the size of the circle is correlated to the amount of money the person has donated. So you can find this donor wall each month on the history timeline, which you find on the Stupa updates. So I hope you are familiar with that one. And then I visited Portugal in January, where the marble for the first stupa is cut at the moment. These three people, they are incredible people, are taking care of it. In the middle, it's JB. He is the owner of the marble workshop, and you can really see it's a great area. There is marble all over the place, and sheds which have the size of a football field. It's very, very impressive. He's a person who is really creative artist and has the skill to put it into real marble. The next one is David. He is the one who is taking care that the marble is extracted properly here in Arizona. And another person is Antonino. He is the master of the CNC machines, where the plans which the architects have drawn are then really cutting the marble. I have an example for that later on. And these are very, very beautiful people. They have deep beliefs. They are meeting. They have something like a sharing session every week. They meet with their business partners and share their good deeds they are doing. So I think we have really found the right people to do that. So here, for example, you can see how the frame is cut. It's incredible big machine. It's incredible noisy. And these machines are connected to the computer, and then they are cutting exactly what it is. And that is the frame which goes in front of the small cave where the statue goes in there. Then here you can see an example of the steps which lead up to which are the first one of the stupa. And here, that's the part where we go from the square to the round to the bumpa to the vase. And then something else was happening.
So you might remember a little while back, we did some ceremonies and found some trees here at Diamond Mountain. Those trees were going to make the stick or the sacred spine that goes inside of the stupa. And the picture you see now is of that tree that has been cut and shaped so that it can become that stick for the stupa. It's been dried for the last 3 months, and Luke, who is our maintenance manager here and has been here for many years, is also incredibly good at working with wood. And so he has very kindly committed to making the stick the exact right size and shape to go inside of the stupa, which is very exciting.
And I think you can also see and get a feeling about how big the stupas are. So the stick starts about 1/3 after the first steps. So if you add the size of one person again, so that is then the height of the stupa. Very, very exciting.
All right, so what we've achieved so far as the programming is still continuing. We've finally received the approval for that special use application, and we're working on the conditions. The design for the meditation chamber is looking very good. We have finalized the base construction plan. We've done some geotechnical surveys, and right now, as soon as the marble arrives, we are going to start thinking about pouring the foundation and building the inside of the stupa. Communications, we've had some marketing and some videos that have captured some of that, but we're also going to be setting up a camera at the site that is going to continuously capture all the information, all the building that's going on site as we go along. And that is something that we will then take down and share with you as well as we go forward.
So what are the plans? which help us to really implement this plan. A lot of people are working on the project and we want to introduce a few of them. So the first one, which is really, it's a pleasure to work with him, that's Bob from Line in Space. He's here and he has a big team behind him. We don't want to mention everybody. And the next one is one of the main figures here.
His name is Marco Gonzalez. He's the one wearing the NFL cap, the blue cap. He's the part owner of the quarry together with one of the Clump family members. And he's been really involved in making sure we choose just the right piece of marble to create the stupas, because there's quite a lot of skill and art involved in that. The engineers are just to the right, to the left of him on your screen. And the person at the bottom with the bald head is one of the master quarriers. He's the one that understands how to get the marble out of the mountain. And that big piece of equipment at the top with those 4 or 5 men standing there are the men who are actually pulling all the marble out of the quarry, doing all the very, very hard work up there. So it's an incredible team. We're very, very lucky to have very skilled and like wonderfully kind and understanding and caring people that are working with us.
Yeah. So what is the plan for March and April? We are continue working on programming. The one major piece is that we now get all the required permits and studies, which they put on us when they approved the special use application. We continue on the meditation chamber, and as Hanli already mentioned, that we get the construction permit for the stupa. Then the marble for the first stupa arrives beginning of April, maybe during Lamrim, and we can show you live how the marble is unloaded on site. And then we need to finalize the ceremonies for the stupa building, and then we can start. That's it. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch that video and get up to date with the stupa. And for all nerds about you, after the thank you page, you find all the detailed numbers for February. So I know that a lot of people who are doing the fundraising are interested in their detailed numbers. You find them in the attached PDF at the end. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
See you next month or during Lamrim.